So it looks like Tank Davis is going to be out for his fight against Jake Paul following some more legal trouble with the police. I think he's been arrested or something. Basically, Tank's going to be out of the picture from what it's looking like. And the two names to replace Tank are very interesting. Now, one is a former opponent of Jake Paul already, Nate Diaz. It was a close fight. It was competitive at times. It wasn't that close. I think Jake Paul pretty comfortably won that fight, but Nate Diaz, because he was sort of, I don't know, how would I even describe Nate Diaz as a boxer? Because he's not fast. He's quite hittable. But I guess for the duration of that fight until he got dropped, he showed that he was able to take Jake Paul's power for the most part. Not that Nate Diaz was particularly a good technical boxer or anything, is what I'm saying, but he was able to cause Jake problems, some issues, nonetheless. But Jake pretty comfortably won that fight, in my opinion. And the other opponent being Francis Ngannou. Now, Francis would be a fight I really would want to see. Like, this would be an amazing fight to watch, in my opinion. I think this would sell even more than Tank. Now, Tank is probably a bigger name than Francis Ngannou, but you've now got the spectacle for Francis Ngannou that you can promote off. Now, honestly, it's not good notice. It's 2 weeks notice, so I doubt Francis is going to be in amazing shape. Assuming they keep the same date, I think from what I'm hearing, they're still planning on going for the same date. So it would be hard to expect a Francis on 100%, but it's going to take a Francis on 100% to beat Jake Paul, if I'm being honest. Because, yes, Francis did very well against Tyson Fury, but he got smoked by Anthony Joshua. So it's hard. What do you really take from that? You know, he did well against Tyson Fury, but got his ass handed to him by Anthony Joshua, and now he's going to fight Jake Paul in boxing. Like, even in MMA, we saw him as, quite a wild striker. But in the Tyson Fury fight, he was very measured, very disciplined. He boxed very well. He got outboxed by Tyson Fury. And this is the thing. This is the thing about that fight, where because he exceeded expectations, doesn't mean he automatically wins the fight. And that's the thing. That's what happened with that Francis Ngannou fight. For the people that think Francis won that fight, just because he exceeded expectations doesn't mean he won the fight. Tyson Fury still outboxed Francis, but it was far more competitive than anyone thought it would be. And I completely concede that. I completely concede that Francis impressed me with that, but he didn't win that fight. I say all that to say that, again, he done that and then went on to fight Anthony Joshua and got smoked. Jake Paul, for all of his faults, he is a half-watt decent boxer, and he's boxing at a decent level in terms of skill. Like, he's showing decent levels of skill in these fights. He's shown that he can be got to. If you're more physical than him and you can take his shots, you can beat Jake Paul. Tommy Fury did that. Right? And Tommy Fury's nothing special at all, and he was able to beat Jake Paul. And it was close, because Jake Paul, even in that fight against Tommy Fury, Jake Paul feels like the type of fighter at this sort of level, guys aren't going to be able to just blow him out. If they're going to beat Jake Paul, it's going to be like that. It's going to be a decision where it's going to be close, it's going to be competitive, because Jake Paul's got a good boxing foundation at this point now, in my opinion. At cruiserweight, for his weight, for his style, he's got a nice foundation, and he's building off that. And a Francis fight would be interesting, because, I mean, naturally, it would then be at heavyweight, so Jake would be a bit bigger. Francis is going to be a lot bigger than Jake. But Jake Paul has got far more boxing experience, far more pro boxing experience. And overall, like that experience should count for something in boxing at this point. That being said, Francis is definitely a big hitter. He dropped Tyson Fury. And everyone who's seen Francis Ngannou fight has seen what he's done to guys in MMA. Right? You know that. You know he's a big puncher in MMA. You know he dropped Tyson Fury in boxing. But you've seen Jake Paul drop a lot of guys. No one near as big as Francis, though. That's the problem. He couldn't really even get going properly against Tommy Fury. He dropped Anderson, dropped Nate, obviously stopped Woodley, stopped Askren. But these guys are so much smaller than Francis. So Jake Paul's best bet would be trying to be on the outside and trying to outbox him and outpoint him. But If this is a 10-round fight, can he do that at heavyweight for 10 rounds? You know what I mean? That's what makes this an interesting fight. And like I said in my video about Super El Matias v Dalton Smith, that probably hasn't come out yet. Or maybe it has. I'm not sure. If there's a fight that is, A, interesting to me when it goes in, meaning there's questions that I need that I want to be answered by this fight, like this fight. Can Jake Paul outbox someone for 10 rounds? Can Francis Ngannou land a big shot on Jake Paul? Can Jake Paul take that shot? If he takes that shot, can he continue to box, or would he start to capitulate? Would he start to crumble mentally? I don't know. These are the questions that we ask. This is what makes interesting fights interesting, right? And if we're satisfied, if the fight, if I see what I want to see from the fight, then my questions will have answers. My questions will have answers, and then, as a fan, I'm going to be satisfied with that fight. But I would be really interested to see Jake Paul v Francis fight. That's the fight I want to see. I don't really want to see an Nate Diaz rematch, although I wouldn't be too mad at it because you have some press conferences. It would be fun. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, Francis would be my pick, in my opinion. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you think Francis will be fighting Jake Paul next, or do you think it could be Nate Diaz, or do you think they'll just postpone the fight again and maybe Tank would have sorted his stuff out? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Yeah, another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.